Telemetry lost.
Aloha everyone. Hi, I'm Ara, and you're watching my live stream on Twitch. And in today's video, I'll be just chatting with you folks, talking about or reflecting on my journey on FPV cinematic drones. When I started all the way to my journey today. But before I begin my long speech story on my FPV cinematic drone, as you can see in the introduction video, one of my drones that I was building went up in smoke. Flame, burn, burn, baby, burn. That was the first time that ever happened to me, building a FPV drone and it going up in smoke. And I was doing the build live on Twitch, and I know there was a lot of viewers watching my stream, so they pretty much had some cool content and entertainment there. But don't fret, people. It wasn't the end all. It wasn't the end game. I was able to salvage most of the drone. I would say 95% of the drone, and I actually got it up and working and flying. So it's this one right here. This is the Apex Impulse RC Apex 5-inch drone with the Cadex Vista, or in partnership with DJI. Let me bring the mic a little bit closer so I'll stay in view. So yeah, so this is with the Cadex Vista HD FPV video feed through the goggles. This is the DJI FPV goggles. I'm running the FetTech F7 flight controller with the FetTech 35 amp 4-in-1 ESCs, and running a TBS Crossfire nano receiver, and I guess T-Immortal antennas, and that's basically it. Yeah, this one, the electronics went up in flames. This ESC burnt. So it takes a lifetime to build, only takes seconds to destroy. But it is a Impulse RC 5-inch reverb, running 4 of them individuals, and then Foxeer Predator V3 FPV camera, and then Foxeer Lollipop antenna, like it. And then I have is my the excellent low throttle control. And on this motor I have is my V3 motors. This is I've had these motors for a while. I think over almost 2 years now. I think almost 2 years. First time been testing them. So this is my 6S. The same time when I need that extra punch at high throttle, it's there. It's definitely there. I don't know if that's because of the 6S, because it really kicks in on the high end, or on the high throttle, and the low throttle is not too aggressive, or it's perfect enough to great control. But I don't know if that's because I'm running 25-degree camera angle. Usually I run about at least 30, even sometimes I go up to 60. I max it out on whatever the frame is capable of. Camera angle is basically the lower camera angle you have. The quad will fly a lot slower. the higher the camera angle, your quad will tend to fly a lot more aggressive, a lot more faster, because because on 25-degree, your camera's pretty much flying like this. I don't think the camera can show it, but it's flying at a low angle. So it's like you produce less thrust. When you have a higher angle, because when you're looking in your goggles, you're pretty much always looking straight ahead, right? So for the camera to look straight ahead, it's pretty much flying at a low angle, or the quad is flying at a low angle. So but when you, like I said, when you raise, when you fly at a higher degree camera angle or camera tilt, your quad is like this, pretty much almost like a 90-degree tilt, and if all the thrust is pushing the quad forward, so that way it makes it appear it flies a lot faster. So the reason why I'm flying at 25-degree right now is camera angle is because I just started getting back into it, and I guess it's just like riding a bike. You don't forget, but it takes a while to get used to. For me to fly again. I built this quad because I had a lot of spare parts, and I figured I just or electronics, and I just wanted to build another quad. And because I smoked one, I figured I just build another one. So right now I have 7 flying quads. I'll probably build more in the future. Yeah, now I guess I'm playing with the HQ Mr. Steel 3-blade 3.1 pitch propellers. My first initial impression is the same thing, like with the you have the low end great control. You have that great control at low throttle, and then when you reach the end, you have enough thrust or power at the high end or on high throttle. And then my first impression on the DJI FPV system or goggles, or it is definitely a game changer. If you do plan on getting into the FPV drone, I definitely recommend going with the DJI for your video feed. You definitely would get either the Cadex Vista or the DJI FPV air unit for your camera and your VTX and your receiver. If you're getting into it, if you first want to get into it, and like I said, your biggest investment is going to be your FPV goggles and your radio transmitter. Your biggest investment and your long-term investment. So what you want to do is because that's pretty much you're gonna buy and don't have to replace for at least hopefully 5 to 10 years. Or the only time you want to replace it is when you feel like you need to replace it. So yeah, your goggles and your radio transmitter. So because the goggles they retail about $529.99 without tax, without shipping. I guess if you can buy it on the DJI website, you get free shipping, I think. So, and then the next best competitor, which is the Fat Shark's HD02s, that goggle, just the goggle itself, goes for $499.99 without taxes, without shipping. So it's only a $30 difference. But the one thing about the Fat Sharks, they don't come with a video receiver and antennas, so you're looking at an additional $100 to $200 for the video receiver and the antennas. So the DJI comes with a built-in receiver and comes with the antennas. The only thing you have to buy is your battery, LiPo battery. So this goggles is capable of 124S LiPo batteries. So you and it comes with a XT60 or XT60 connector. So basically, you can just use one of your FPV drone lipos if you're not using 6S or 5S. So you're getting a great value and a great bargain on the FPV goggles compared to the next great competitor or brand. And God said, "Let there be light." So, yeah, you're saving money going with the DJI FPV goggles compared to everybody else. You can get a cheaper one, but like I said, just make the investment because it's great value and it's a long-term investment. So it's gonna, like I said, these goggles, you won't have to replace them until you want to replace them or you want to upgrade yourself. But I don't see anything. I don't foresee anything getting better than what this can produce. This is it right here. This is the creme or peak of it. HD digital video feed. And it's really crispy. It's the video you see in the goggles is crystal clear, high definition. You can't get better than that. I mean, they have 8K coming. They have 8K television, but how can it's like, how can you get any clearer or better than that? And I mean, I think it's just a marketing thing. So, I mean, eventually I'll know they'll probably upgrade the DVR in this, and maybe one day you can record 4K 60 frames per second. But that's probably in the future. But for what it does compared to other goggles, in regards to what you're seeing in the goggles and video feed, you're getting the better value with the DJI FPV goggles. And if you go, and I also recommend going with the DJI remote control FPV remote control because the DJI Air unit or the Caddx Vista, it comes with a VTX and receiver in the unit, so you don't have to buy an extra VTX receiver. You're pretty much getting a combo deal with the Caddx Vista or the DJI Air unit. The Caddx Vista is a lot more affordable. It's a smaller form factor compared to the Air unit. It's pretty light. I was amazed how small it is. As you can see, it's I built it right in here. Back there, zip tied. There's still a lot of room in the back of this Apex frame. And then one of the greatest thing is you less soldering, and it's like plug and play pretty much. I probably may end up switching over from my Taranis XD90 Plus to the DJI remote control, but I'm just waiting and seeing. Maybe they'll come out with a better remote or upgraded remote in the next couple months. So that's basically it with my rundown with my FPV gear right now. Yeah, just like I said, just started getting back into flying. Pretty cool. So it's like riding a bike. You never forget, but you just got to get used to the controls and flying again. Running on stock PIDs, stock rates. So the quad is very slow, sluggish, not what I'm used to. Going to have to raise the P gain on the roll and pitch axis, raise the I gain on the pitch and roll axis, and then raise the D term. I don't really need to raise the D term, but I'll probably do raise the D term. So pretty much P when you P on the brief explanation on PIDs real quick. So you have the roll, which is your left and right, and then your pitch axis is forward and back. So on those axes, you have each axis has a P term, and basically the higher you raise your P's, the quicker and faster your quad will respond according to your stick movement. It will feel a lot quicker and faster, the movement. Eye turn is basically is I see it as like a magnet or glue. The higher you raise your eye, your quad will feel a lot more like it's on magnets. So it's stronger. The higher you raise your eyes, the stronger the magnet gets. And not only that, but it does. The higher you can raise your eyes, the more precise your movements will be when according to your RC rate, which is at the end of the stick. So if you're trying to do like a half roll like this, it will like calculate it so you'll do a half roll precisely. And then the same thing, like it keeps your quad in the same movement and direction when you're not moving any sticks, you know, when you're not throttling or rolling and pitching. So basically if you just like going in a straight line, helps you stay in a straight line so long, yeah, when you let go of the controls. And then when you do punch outs, it helps maintain, like most people don't notice the quad when they throttle, like there's a dip in the nose, like, or the nose will just like move a little bit upper or higher, I mean up or down. So what it does is higher eyes is it will keep the quad steady. You don't see that the nose moving up or down, it will just stay steady. And then D term is pretty much D for dampening. It's like you're braking, or when you let go of the throttle and you ramp up the throttle again. Helps prevent those oscillations. People like to call it prop wash, but I just call it opening and closing the dam real quickly. It's like when you're driving your car, if you just punch it and you try to stop, what happens is right, it'll start, it won't stop smoothly, right? You have so, but to prevent that, you have to control, have to have good throttle control and braking control. So that's basically what D term is like you're dampening, you're braking, your sudden movement of, but mostly it comes down to is the pilot and how he is with like throttle management, throttle control, how he is with the sticks, So basically the pilot should adapt to how the characteristics of the quad or the quad's behavior. When you do PID tuning, it's pretty much trying to enhance your flying skills or your piloting skills better. So that's basically the quick run on the PIDs. It's funny because when I was doing a lot of research on the DJI FPV goggles, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, DJI is starting to get into the FPV drone market," or this is the first time they're getting into the FPV drone market, which is false statement. It's not true. DJI, this is not the first time DJI has ever been into the FPV drone market. Not with the DJI FPV system. They actually was the very first ones that was in the FPV drone racing market. How do I know? I have video proof. If you folks have followed me from the beginning of my channel, I bought when I got into FPV drone racing, I bought a quad or a drone from what is it, Helipal back in the days, and they had this FPV drone called Storm Racing. And in that Storm Racing, in that FPV drone, it had the drone flight controller was made by DJI. The ESCs were made by DJI. Not the motors. Or the PBE was made by DJI? No, it wasn't. No, just the flight controller, ESC. No, the flight controller, ESCs, receiver. Yeah, the receiver, VTX, and it also had the GPS in it, the DJI GPS. Yeah, my very first drone that I bought ready to fly was it had DJI electronics on it in it, and that's the one people chastise me about putting the props upside down. Go figure, no instructions. Learn as you go. And that's the quad that actually it flew well, actually. It flew very good, actually. Probably the best quad when I first started that actually flew, that I bought ready to fly. No oscillations, nothing. It flew right out of the box. It flew so well that I crashed it into the Pacific Ocean on my first flight. Yep. And the reason why is because, you know, you learn by experience, and I didn't see these LiPo battery XT60 plugs. So what happened was I didn't strap it down close to the frame. It was dangling. And what happened was I got a prop hit. And back in those days, the props weren't durable or as strong as what they have today, which is polycarbonate. You know, they're pretty strong, very durable. The props back in the days were made out of fiberglass, so it was very fragile. So it just took one hit and straight into the Pacific Ocean, one direct hit. I was able to actually recover and find the quad in the ocean, but I never did ever revived it. I think that moved on after that because technology is moving so quickly and so fast. Yeah, back in the days, I think the next ready to fly quad I bought was the Sky Hero. I couldn't get that to fly. It used to oscillate crazy. And that one had the Open Pilot flight controller. Then when you try to set it up in the Open Pilot GUI, I couldn't figure it out. And then I tried to build a blackout. Now, if you know blackout, you are a a old timer in FPV drone racing. Blackout. Yeah, so I tried to build a blackout mini Spider Hex quad, which basically is a 6-motor quad. But you know, I looked up all the YouTube videos. I got exactly everything what the guy recommended. You know, Naze 32 F1 32-bit board, flight controller, T-motor motors, T-motor ESCs, and back then even till this day T-motors was it. And then if you know who Simon K is, you are very old. You're an old timer. You've been in the FPV for a long time. Right now I've been flying helicopters or 3D helicopters, but yeah, Simon K was the popular firmware back then for ESCs. And then BA Heli was always in the game. Yeah, Simon K. You know, I bought the FPV camera. I built it, but I never got to fly it. Because I moved on again. You know, because technology is coming quickly and fast. I got into, instead of going with the Hex quadcopters, I went with the quads. And so the next thing, I tried to put a Naze 32 in. Oh, that was when Lumineer came out with the Sharpoo quad frame. I built down, that was kind of, I got it to fly, but at the same time, it was hard to fly. Was after Naze 32 in Sharpoo. Naze 32 in Sharpoo. Clean flight. I tried my hands on clean flight. It was okay. I don't think I ever got it to fly. And then I think after clean flight, it was Kiss. Yeah, Kiss. I still try to do the Naze 32. I was so locked in on Naze 32, the RoboCop. Base flight with the GUI back then. But with nays, it always, for whatever reason, failed. Had a lot of oscillation problems. I don't think that particularly it was the nays 32 board, but I think it was more of the ESCs back then. Back then, you was running the Killer Bees or the BB8s, ESCs, BA Heli firmware. Used to oscillate a lot. I never figured out how to tune it, PID tune it. So yeah, a lot of money invested in quads. I mean, went to the Armatan frames. They came out a bunch of frames. I forget which one was one of those colors. It was a small compact frame, but you know, it was way back then. And finally, after all the trial and errors, I jumped ship and went to the KISS bandwagon. And then I jumped on the Impulse RC Alien bandwagon. And that was a game changer. That's when I was able to actually get a flight up and running with no oscillations, fly steady, and it just flew. Flew that line of sight for a while, and then finally went under the goggles and tried to fly FPV, and took me a while, but you know, I got better and better. The more I crashed, the more I wanted to fly. And here I am. Today, investing my time, resources, and finance on trying to develop motors, brushless motors. Pretty much it's just for myself, but I don't know if I'm ever gonna get into the marketing or trying to sell it on the open market. Just doing a lot of testing on the prototypes and the samples. So far so good. I really love these motors, but I have V4s coming or in development, so we'll see what happens. So yeah, that's basically it. So for people who are getting into the FPV drone hobby, you know, you guys are lucky because technology is just where it's supposed to be. Perfect. You can just build a quad. It's real easy nowadays, and it'll just fly right out of the box with no tuning. You don't really have to do any PID tuning. You know, once you get better, then you can probably dive into PID tuning, which is not as difficult as back in the days. Now PID tuning is real simple and easy. Like I said, you raise your P's, your quad will feel quicker, faster, and respond a little quicker and faster on that axis, on the roll pitch axis. I turns basically if you know how stable, I turns pretty much. Used to call it P was for present, I term was the past, and the D term was for future, which kind of makes sense because present is how you at that moment how you want your quad to respond. Past term is basically kind of like where you pretty much want your quad basically the same as it was what it was doing before. Like I say, if you want it continue in a straight line or in the same direction without moving the sticks or the throttles, you'll do that. Or when you do punch outs, you want it to be hold that same position throughout the throttle punch. And then like D term, you're kind of predicting ahead of time where you want to recover from a dive or from a slowing down situation, or when you're going fast and when you want to, how much you want to slow down and ramp up your throttle again. Yeah, real simple, real basic. So that's basically it. Nobody chatted in this video or this live stream. Nobody wanted to talk FPV. I got you. FPV can be very, very boring watching flight videos. Will it ever become mainstream or very popular? No, that's an interesting question. I think people see it as the next big thing. It hasn't gotten there yet, I think. But this is the big next step right here. Digital HD video feed. I think that's one of the things that's holding it back. But a lot of people are getting to it, especially for the cinematic, part of it. But that is a brief history of my FPV journey. Thank you for people that have been watching. I know there are a few viewers out there watching. Thank you for your support. There's nobody wanted to join in the chat, but it's okay. Maybe it's not your cup of tea. So, once again, see what's next for me. I know I'm gonna go out and do the run video on the Capo JK Max soon. Still debating if I want to install an FPV system in the JK Max. I just gotta figure out how to do live FPV feed on my stream. Probably do another scale. I'll probably finish building my HPI Baja 5B buggy. Just gotta order me a couple parts for it, and maybe I have to order a couple servos. Now basically the JL Jeep, and then or a Traxxas TRX4 kit and build that one. And also looking at the Element RC, the Forerunner ready to run kit. So that's some things I'm looking forward to. Hopefully we get that resolved soon. Hope you folks having an excellent Monday. Hope you have a great week. Black Lives Matter. You know, let's all make a change. Let's all look in the mirror and have a positive influence and change in the world. So till my next live stream, I'll also probably do more. I'll probably get back into the editing studio and edit videos instead of doing live stream. We'll see. So till my next live stream or my next VOD, take care and aloha. Shaka. And I'm out.